It's so painful in some ways to listen to how Christian people have killed each other or have been mistreated, abused, and falling victim to geopolitical circumstances. All of these things are so complex and sometimes seemingly just geographically incidental that it makes you take a step back and think, okay, what is the through line of the faith here that goes above and beyond circumstantial history? In essence, it forces us to wrestle with, what does Orthodox Christianity really mean? The Orthodox Church by Metropolitan Kallistos Ware. This book left me with a lot of unexpected impressions. This book took me on a journey. I did not see it coming. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. And hey, if you're new to this channel, my name is Ryan Holsapple. I have a PhD in psychology, and this channel is about my journey as a soon-to-be Orthodox Christian, God willing, to be baptized on Pentecost. It's about my journey and how I'm integrating philosophy, psychology, in light of my newfound Orthodox faith. Okay, so let's talk about this book. Number one, this book is very nuanced. You know, I was expecting to read something that was sort of a well-thought-out defense of the Orthodox Church and its history. And I don't mean defense in a pejorative sense, but I just mean like in the sense that we talk about in intellectual circles or in academic circles. When you defend an idea, you're doing your best to be an apologist for it. And in this way, this book was actually far less defensive than I expected, and I guess that's my problem. Why did I have that expectation? I don't know. You'd think somebody in psychology would learn to let go of expectations. It doesn't quite work that way. But this book was very nuanced. Never once did I get the sense that Metropolitan Kallistos Ware was trying to force orthodoxy down our throats or give us this watered down version of history, because this book goes deep into church history and schisms and different conflicts and confrontations, and he does a really good job presenting the Orthodox position without making it polemical, without making it this sort of controversial straw man of other positions. He actually really considers the Roman Catholic position, the Arian position, the Nestorian position, on and on and on. And as a reader, it gives me two impressions. Number one, okay, being Orthodox doesn't mean that I have to blindly ignore the human issues that plague church history on all sides, including the sinful human beings that exist within the church. That was really important part of this book. Number two, within Orthodoxy, there is a range of opinion that doesn't fall within what you would call towing some categorically restricted line of thinking. In other words, people are diverse within the faith. Now, the faith is unified theologically. That's what's really important. And Ware does not compromise on that fact. But within that, he displays that there's a really flexible range of how people tend to formulate their views as Orthodox Christians. Now, when it comes to the history, it's so painful in some ways to listen to how Christian people have killed each other or have been subjected to horrible martyrdom, which, depending on the way you put it, it's also glorious martyrdom because it's in service of the Lord, but mistreated, abused, and falling victim to geopolitical circumstances. All of these things are so complex and sometimes seemingly just geographically incidental that it makes you take a step back and think, okay, what is the through line of the faith here that goes above and beyond circumstantial history? In essence, it forces us to wrestle with, what does Orthodox Christianity really mean? And because he's not rhetorical or defensive, he gives the sense that he has nothing to be defensive about. This is the faith. This is what we believe. This is the complex history of sinful human beings on all sides of the spectrum, in and outside of Orthodoxy. And yet we still have this theological through line. So that's when Ware is really able to show us that despite all of this, the life of the saints, the theological preciousness of Orthodoxy has been preserved through history. And that is the beauty of how he's able to articulate himself in this book and put forward a position that allows the Orthodox Church to be conceived of as non-compromising on issues of faith, but complex on issues of history. So as somebody who's in the process of soon to be an Orthodox Christian, becoming an Orthodox Christian, it gave me a sense of permission that I don't have to understand everything. If the history is this complex, then maybe it's also okay that I don't exactly know where I fall on every single topic. After all, I'm only a catechumen, and I can't possibly learn that quickly. On the other hand, it preserves a sense of the authority of the church being the body of Christ, and a sense of deep respect and reverence for the church. Now, that being said, I would be lying to you if I didn't feel like at some points it was almost like this book was too fluid between boundaries. Like it didn't take in, like it was maybe too much on the side of ecumenicism and stuff like that. Now, I who am I to say that? I don't know. It was just an instinctual reaction I had, which was like, well, are we being too loose on certain boundaries here in terms of defining the faith and what it means to be an Orthodox Christian? But it's not a criticism. It's just a reaction. I'm just sharing a reaction. I actually think I'm probably wrong about that. I think it's because I'm too rigid inside of myself, and the book is pointing to something maybe I need to work on in terms of becoming an Orthodox Christian, because I'm bringing this sort of Western phronema to Eastern Orthodoxy. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation is that Orthodox Christians truly do have a variety of opinions on how the faith should be lived, outside of the normative theological agreements, and perhaps Ware leans more towards the ecumenical side, the ecumenicism side. I don't know. Again, above my pay grade. Not my job to teach the church. My job to share with you my journey as somebody who is coming into the church. Really liked this book. Really learned a lot from this book. I would recommend it. It's one of those that, if you're not a history buff, brace yourself, because there's a lot of history, and sometimes it can be very dense, but it always ties everything together and allows a sense of deep immersion to evolve throughout the text. I get the sense from this book that the Orthodox faith is the same faith today as it was 2,000 years ago when the apostles were charged with spreading the faith. That, to me, is a beautiful articulation and testimony to just how powerful the Orthodox Church is. So, really a good book. So tune in, subscribe to this channel, and we'll continue to do book discussions, as well as my journey of faith, psychology, philosophy, tying them all together. Now, let me know in the comments, did you read this book? What were your thoughts on it? Was my interpretation crazy? Obviously, there's too much to say. I can't unpack it all here, but did you get some of the similar impressions I got? Did I miss anything that you would have wanted to be said? Share it in the comments so that we can all learn together. Thanks so much.